What is going on, Fit Fam? Welcome on back to my channel. My name is Megan Janice, the founder of Nomadic Fitness, and I teach you ladies how to eat way more food without any restrictions and work out smarter instead of harder to build your dream body, beautiful, sexy, hourglass body that you feel amazing in and can maintain these results year-round for life with ease. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and if you're coming on back, thanks so much for joining for another video. All right, fam, in today's video, I'm going to cover the 2 biggest fatal mistakes you are making that is preventing you from having your dream body. The firm, smooth skin you want to have, that's tight, that has all the lines and definition, the shape where you want it is from muscle. So it's really important to realize it's not just about weighing less, it's not just about losing fat. Yes, getting leaner, having less fat is going to be one step in the process towards the body you want, but trust me, if you just lose fat, you are not going to be happy with the end result. The main thing that is going to make you so happy with the way your body looks is putting on all of the muscle. So this is actually a type of weight gain. It's just the one that you want, gaining weight from muscle and then taking weight off your body from fat. This is called body composition, meaning literally what is your body composed of, how much of it is fat and how much of it is muscle. Okay, so let me explain to you how you get this outcome, what you need to do, and the 2 biggest mistakes that you're making, why you're not getting this outcome. Okay, so to build a body with more muscle, relatively low body fat, it obviously comes down to 2 things that you need to be doing. You need to be eating to support muscle growth and fat loss, and you need to be training to support muscle growth and fat loss. Training meaning working out, exercising, but I prefer to say the word training because exercising or working out means you're just kind of doing anything random, whereas training means you are specifically going in with the intention to grow muscle. Okay, so eating to build muscle and lose fat. This is obviously a huge problem where so many people are going wrong is because they think if I eat healthy, I will get this great body. That's not the case. Obviously, eating healthy is good for you, but eating healthy alone does not guarantee that you're putting muscle on and taking fat off your body. So what do you need to do? You need to eat the right amount of food with the right ratios that your body requires to be putting on the muscle and taking the body fat off. This is called tracking your macros, your protein, fats, and carbs. So why does this matter? Because the right amount of each of these 3, protein, fats, and carbs, is going to determine how much fat and how much muscle you have on your body. So this is very different than just eating healthy. And in fact, most women who are only trying to eat healthy are way under eating protein, way over eating fat, and just not eating enough calories in general. And then they wonder why they don't have this great physique. Well, it's because you're not eating enough and you're not eating enough of the right ratios of food. Okay, so then that is how you need to eat. But we know that the body you want is one with lots of muscle. So think about it like this. You can't actually eat your way to more muscle. Yes, you need to eat the right way to put muscle on your body, to support your body to grow that muscle. However, if you just ate macros, if you just ate how you're supposed to, but you weren't training to build muscle, you wouldn't be building any, right? Because what actually tells the body that it needs to build muscle is putting a stimulus on your muscles. That is what signals to your body that it needs to build some muscle. So how do you put a stimulus on your muscles? You need to train your muscles, aka work out to grow muscle. So this is why it is so important to not think like, oh, I'm just gonna do any kind of random workout. No, you need to think, my workouts, the goal of my training is to stimulate my muscles for growth, especially the particular areas that I want to focus on and really want to develop. So meaning, obviously as women, we usually want to build a little bit more glutes. So you literally have a training plan that revolves around that, where you are directly targeting, directly stimulating your glutes for growth without overdoing it, but also without underdoing it. So of course, the best way to stimulate your muscles for growth is to lift weights, and the best way to lift weights is in a gym. That is just because you're gonna have access to all of the weight, all of the different equipment, all the different machines you could ever need to hit your muscles at all the different angles, stimulate them in all of the right ways. Now, it's not to say you can't lift weights at home, especially if you're more of a beginner, but you're definitely gonna wanna make sure you have access to a decent bit of equipment, because just some light dumbbells is absolutely not going to be enough to really stimulate your muscles to build your dream body. So if you're just getting started, it's okay, but make sure you invest in some heavier dumbbells, and really ideally you should be getting a barbell, a rack with plates on either side of the barbell so you can really overload your muscles. Okay, this is the baseline. You need to be doing these two things. So if you have no idea even how to track macros or what your macros should be, the amount of protein, fats, and carbs you need to be eating, then make sure to check out this video, because I have explained this in many, many videos on this channel, literally walking you through step by step how to calculate the right amount for your body and your goals, and then also how to actually track macros, how to weigh things, how to measure things correctly to make sure that you are hitting your macros. So that video is here. Make sure to check both of those out if you are totally new to the macro tracking world. Okay, so now, although eating the right amount of macros and stimulating your muscles for growth by lifting weights is the baseline of what you need to be doing to build your dream body, just those two things alone is not enough. Meaning, if you just set your macros once and you have a weightlifting plan, you're going to the gym, and you're just following the same plan over and over and over, don't expect your body to have a dramatic transformation. Now, if you are somebody who does not track macros at all and you don't lift weights at all right now, yes, you actually will see some pretty good results just by even starting macros and starting weightlifting. Probably for the next 6 months to 1 year, you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is insane. I'm finally getting the results I always wanted. Fat is melting off, muscle definition is coming on. But you will hit a plateau, because you cannot just eat one way and never change the amount of food that you're eating and then just lift weights and not really hone in on how you're lifting the weights and think that your body is going to have a huge, huge, huge transformation. So these results that you see of mine here, this transformation happened over 1 year. And let me tell you right now, we did not get these results, me and my coach, because we just had one set of macros and we never changed it, and we just had one set of workouts and we never changed it. No, you need to be constantly evaluating how is your body responding to what you're doing, and then make decisions, make adjustments according to the response you're seeing to get you further along in your goals. So the very first thing you need to be doing is you need to dedicate yourself to phases of physique building. You need to either be in a phase of muscle gain or in a phase of fat loss. Now, you can do a little bit of both at the same time, which is called recomp or recomposition, where you are simultaneously losing some fat while building some muscle. This especially can happen when you are somebody who's completely new to macros and weightlifting, which is why I said those first 6 months to 1 year, you can kind of just do whatever with macros and weightlifting, and you're gonna see a lot of results just by the fact that you started doing this at all. However, after you are getting past that newbie gains phase, as it's called, you are gonna start to plateau. And that is because you need to pick one. You need to be either going into a muscle gain phase and also speeding up your metabolism, or you need to be going into a fat loss phase. And the secret behind all of this, because remember, most people think they just want to lose fat, but actually you want to be gaining muscle, and you just don't really realize it yet because you haven't dedicated yourself to a big muscle gain phase. So muscle takes 4 times as long for your body to build as it does for your body to lose fat. So you should be spending the majority of your time in a muscle gain phase. This is called a bulk or a build. And you know, when you hear the word bulk, so many women get scared of this. They're like, oh my God, no, I don't want to get big and fat and all this. No, that's not what happens. You are in a phase where you are intentionally gaining weight because you're trying to put on muscle. And yes, in this muscle gain phase, you are not going to be so lean. You have to kind of accept that. You're not going to be at your absolute leanest because you're dedicated to gaining weight. Because if you're not gaining weight, you're not putting on muscle. So you're going to have to accept that you're not going to be like crazy lean during this phase. But what you're doing is you're putting on so much great shape. You're getting your calories super high, metabolism super fast, so that when the time comes for you to go into a fat loss phase, to trim down the fluff that came along with gaining the muscle, you're gonna be able to lose the fat really quickly, really easily, drop your calories from a super high intake, and you're gonna look like a totally new person underneath. Once you cut down that fat, you're gonna have all this beautiful, sexy muscle to show off that you could not have got if you had never dedicated yourself to the muscle gaining phase. So that is the biggest mistake people are making, is that they are not dedicating themselves to a phase. I actually call this macro cycling, because when you are in a muscle building phase, you are eating up. You are gradually increasing your food bit by bit by bit by bit, because you got to be making sure that you are gaining weight in this phase. You're paying attention to the scale trend, because you can be eating more, and sometimes your body's adapting so much to what you're eating that you're actually not gaining weight, even though you're eating more. So if you're not gaining weight, you need to still eat more on top of that, because you literally need to find the tipping point for your body. You need to find where are you going to go into a surplus so that you're going to actually start putting on that muscle, okay? So a muscle building phase, so a bulk or a build as it's called, should be at least 6 months, if not longer, because if you do it for any less than 6 months, it's just literally not enough time for you to really be gaining anything from. So give yourself a bit of time to really put on some great muscle. Be patient. This is definitely a little bit of a slower phase, but you will be seeing a lot of great shape coming onto your body, and you're also going to get your calories so high that by the time you get to your fat loss phase, it's going to be such a breeze. So that takes us to now the next step. Once you have bulked for at least 6 months, even longer, even better if it can be a year, maybe even more than that, and you've put on all this great muscle, and you've stayed obviously quite lean while doing so, but of course not as lean as you would be if you were in a fat loss phase. Okay, so now you're ready to go into the fat loss phase, which is called a cut. So since you got your calories nice and high in your build, you know, you probably got up to at least 2,500 calories a day, if not 3,000. Sometimes, honestly, some girls need to eat even up to like 4,000 calories a day to really be putting on muscle, especially once they are already muscular because their metabolism is fast. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut hard. You're going to completely dedicate yourself to a fat loss phase and go all the way in. And this is also people's biggest problem. Like, they're like, oh, I want to lose fat, I want to build muscle, but they're just so wishy-washy. They're not dedicated to either one, and they're kind of just completely half-assing both, and that's why they're getting completely half-assed results. So you need to be fully all in to building muscle, eating up, gaining weight to put on that muscle, and then boom, time to cut hard, drop your calories, and shed that fat. And when you go into a fat loss phase, you're gonna want around 1,000 calories room to drop your calories, because by the very, very end of the cut, you are obviously gonna be eating a lot less than you used to be, because you have to keep adjusting, you have to keep adapting, because your body is adapting, right? Like however much you're eating, your body is adapting and then starting to burn less and less calories, so you have to keep dropping. Not only are you dropping calories, but you're also adding in a little bit more cardio. So if you wanna know how to do either of these phases, how to do a build phase and then how to go into a cut phase from there, I made 2 videos, one for each phase, that I'm gonna link in the description below, that you can check out to understand, you know, what should your macros be, what kind of workouts, what kind of cardio should you be doing, and then how to adjust in each phase. Now quickly, the second big mistake that I will cover is that although you need to be lifting weights to be putting the tension on your muscles so that they will grow, what a lot of people are doing wrong is they're just kind of going through the motions with their workouts. You know, they barely eat, or maybe don't eat at all, then they go to the gym fasted, and they're kind of just like checking off the boxes, just going through the motion with their workouts, okay? This is not enough to build some serious muscle, and you want to build some serious muscle. So you need to treat your training session as the moment to shine. This is your opportunity to absolutely slam your muscles, give it everything you got, really, really, really target the muscles you want to hit, stimulate them for growth, and then rest outside of the gym. Rest outside of your workout so that they can actually grow. Make sure you're eating enough of the right macro ratio so the muscles can grow, and boom, that is how you do it. So you need to shift from kind of just doing whatever with your workouts, even if it is lifting weights, and shift more into honing in on how you lift the weights. How you lift the weights makes such a big difference. And again, that is a huge reason I had such a big transformation this past year with my one-to-one coach, because this is what I learned from her, was that it wasn't enough just to lift weights, just to lift heavy. It was more about how I lifted the weight. So I call this time under tension training, because I think that time under tension is the most important aspect of stimulating your muscles for growth. So literally meaning how much tension you are directly putting on the muscles you want to hit, right? So what goes into this is doing nice, slow, controlled reps, taking your time, going through the full range of motion, okay? You're not just squatting like 1/4 of the way, you're squatting all the way down, past parallel to the ground, getting as much out of the lift as you possibly can, because that is what is going to maximize tension on the muscle. And this is also where you really need to judge how much weight you're lifting, because how much weight you're lifting is actually the least important thing, because it's not the weight you're lifting, it's how you're lifting the weight. So what you really want to hone in on is the intensity that you bring, meaning that every single set you do, you should be pushing yourself to the absolute max. So just because your workout program says, you know, you should finish this set at 12 reps does not mean that you actually finish at 12 reps, because if you get to rep 12 and you feel like you still could do another 5, maybe even 10 before you actually went to complete failure, meaning you literally could not do a single more rep, then you go all the way. Intensity is the most important part of what is going to create the muscle growth for you. So pushing yourself to the absolute max, you should be really struggling by the ends of your sets. It should look like your form is getting a little bit questionable, because that's how you know you are pushing yourself to the max. So you got to give your muscles a reason to grow, really stimulate them, make your workouts count. And the combination of cycling through muscle gain phases and fat loss phases, eating obviously the right macros for each of those stages, and then lifting weights better, lifting weights smarter, instead of just doing more or doing it harder. It's a combination of those two things that is going to give you a transformation like this and give you your dream result. So this is a course, that service that we offer, one-to-one coaching, teaching you exactly how to do all of this, customizing it to your body, your goals, how much you need to be eating, when to be adjusting that, how to be working out, how to be lifting the weights better so that you're putting the best tension on them, so you're gonna get maximum muscle growth and fat loss. So if you would like to be guided, instead of wasting so much time and energy on your own and getting frustrated by the lack of results, instead just get the results you want, then click on the link below, check out our one-to-one coaching, apply, and we would love to see if we're a good fit to help you get that amazing transformation so you can finally have the body you've always wanted and be able to maintain it year-round with ease. All right, babes, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope it was helpful. Now go ahead and watch this video here, where I'm gonna walk through all the reasons why eating more is going to get you better results, and why you really gotta be fueling yourself to see the transformation that you want. So go ahead, click on that video here, and I will see you in the next video.